This is exciting. It is the first ever Saturday Jeff and Dom make a game coming at you a day early.
Whew, happy Saturday.
Yeah. What are you doing tomorrow, Dom?
Just hanging out at the other quarantine house. So I could stream from there, but I figured I would make it easy and use the normal setup, especially while we sort stuff out.
Yeah,
They
totally.
have Sonic Fiber and they inspired me to get this too, so I'm very happy.
Okay. Great. Okay. So when we last left off, we had just added probably the coolest stuff that we've added to the game, uh, which is particle emitters, right? So
Pew
we have some
pew
muzzle
pew.
flare, we've got some explosions when the bullets hit the walls, and then also not to be discounted is the fact that walls are now destructible. We worked on entity to entity collision, I think 2 streams ago, but now we're also adding some business logic to when collisions occur, so we can actually destroy walls, which is fantastic. So this is starting to feel like an actual game, Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast that came together too. It didn't feel quite as real 2 streams ago. Now
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
And then just as a quick note, between last stream and this one, we also just did a tiny bit of code reorganization. Uh, so we actually introduced some directories, which meant that we actually had to decompose this common interface definition file that we had called common.ts, which no longer even exists anymore. And then we just created a bunch of interfaces.ts files that have a bunch of TypeScript interfaces and enums, which I think for the most part, I don't know if interface has any kind of runtime component to it, right?
I don't believe so. No, it
Yeah.
should be completely compiled away.
Yeah, and I think enums maybe have a runtime component where you can like iterate over the items in an enum or something like that.
I think they end up kind of exactly as an object, yeah, with like a global constant of some sort.
Got it. And I have used TypeScript in the past, but I'm still learning a lot about how it exactly works. JavaScript, for that matter. And one of the things I was worried about when we made these changes was the number of circular references we were going to have, right? Like this is our top level interface, which has some of the global services that the game has, like the playfield and the keyboard, and the game for that matter. And the game references the entity manager, and then we look at the entity manager, it references the game. And so I was a little bit worried about having a circular dependency thing, but it turns out that TypeScript figures it out and manages it fine.
Yep.
Which is great because it means that we don't have to have this like one giant file with every interface defined in it, which is really good.
I'm wondering if we can get away from some interfaces too eventually. So we'll do some TypeScript playing probably between the next couple streams.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good to learn about. I think these are exactly the kinds of things that are good to know.
Absolutely.
Cool. So for today, um, I believe we had in mind maybe wanting to do something interesting with the map, right? So what were we thinking? Maybe we're gonna have a bigger map first of all. We're gonna get away from like, is this like 20 by 20 tiles? Is that what that looks like?
10 by 10.
It
I
might
think
even
I
be
think
smaller.
I think
Yeah.
we did 10 by 10.
20 by 15 is the claim here.
Oh, all right. Oh, but that's the drivable area too. I was thinking that what's
Oh,
what's rendered as
what is
10
the
by
actual
10.
map? I think the
Yeah.
map is defined in main. Yes. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close the side panel here so it's a little bit clearer what's going on here
Yep.
text-wise.
Yep.
And yeah, so the map is really, really small, but we want it to be really big, and we want there to be actually we want it to be bigger than the viewport, right? Which is what games do. And if the playfield gets bigger than the viewport, then we need some kind of camera abstraction, right? We unfortunately also probably need to start thinking about what happens if the tank gets outside of the boundaries.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
Tragic.
This beautiful, beautiful artwork.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dominic. Well, we do have to do this, right? Because basically
Yeah.
we need to know when the camera should stop scrolling, right? Yeah. And
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're gonna lose that, and that's okay.
okay, but we don't have to. I mean, if we do that, that means that like it's probably good to not let the tank drive off the sides, because like what'll happen is like right now we can drive up the top and then completely lose the tank, which
Yep.
maybe we don't want. Um, But let's maybe cross that bridge when we get to it. I want to work on the interesting stuff.
Yeah, because I can conceive of also like we could programmatically sort of have the game field throw a bunch of walls that don't have a damager or damageable on them around the perimeter without having to do too much work as well. So
Right.
yeah,
So, what is a good way to make the playfield bigger? Should I just copy and paste all this stuff, or do I?
I guess.
I don't really know how to do a vertical paste. Is that?
Mm-mm.
Is there any way I can do this?
Can you use command to make multiple cursors? Command click. That worked in Atom or in Sublime. Yeah. Nope. You gotta do it one line at a time, but
Oh, I can't hit down either. Oh, it's trying to hack it.
no, you wish. Okay. Whoa. That is a playfield, all right.
It is a playfield. Oops.
Huh.
Okay, now I don't want multiple cursors. Okay,
Okay. So what
so
happens
that's
if you
pretty
render
big
this?
map.
Yeah. All right.
The other thing I was thinking about doing was to just randomize the terrain, which is another thing we could do. Um,
I'd be very into procedurally generated terrain. Yeah.
okay, so how is this now? We actually have a restricted play viewport right now, right? And that's essentially just the size of the canvas.
Correct.
Um,
And I
but
think
we actually,
that's where you were just looking at. That's 20 by 15 right now.
yeah. But I think what we really want is a notion of a camera that is centered. Let's just say it's fixed to where the player position is, which means that the player sprite is going to almost always be at the very center of the playfield all the time. Or not, sorry, not the center of the playfield, the center of the viewport, right?
Correct.
Okay. So where are we rendering the playfield? Is it just in playfield.ts? Do we have a render function there? We do.
Indeed, we do.
Okay. So I guess what we need to do is pass in a camera position, right? Um,
Oh gosh, does everything need this though? Do the walls also need a camera position so that they can move with the playfield? Because they're entities.
intense.
And bullets.
Yes. Yeah. So this is where we get into maybe needing some kind of renderable abstraction that is potentially, or we just pass in the render position to every render function. Right?
I was gonna say, yeah, should render start taking a new type that's like, yeah, it's a combo of context and position, and we add a util function that just like, yeah, offset by camera pause.
Yeah. So what if we just start with this?
Sounds good.
Okay. And then we're only going to update. It's going to look real weird, but we're just going to update
Playfield.
the playfield with this.
Sounds good.
So what are we doing right now? We're drawing rectangles. This is already going to be super tricky, I think. What we need to know is essentially what is the first tile that we need to render, right? And then we also need to know the boundaries as well, because, well, maybe for now, let's not worry about boundaries. Let's just like let the camera drift outside of the map, so we'll just have like white borders on the outside.
Okay. And are you trying to think of what to render so that we're not rendering off camera essentially? I know it can be expensive.
Yes, although basically
I'm
the
okay
XY positions
if we
could
do
be
it.
negative, right? Like maybe the context allows you to render outside, and it's just fine with that.
I mean, conceivably, it's doing it right now because it's rendering.
Oh,
Sure.
you're right. You're
It's
totally
rendering a
right.
much bigger map than what's available, so it's doing it.
Okay, so what would we do is just offset these pixel positions by
Yep.
the camera position, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So X and Y are they are pixel positions here, right?
Mhm.
And that is the upper left corner of the tile. So if we just are we adding or subtracting the camera position?
Um,
I believe we're
Adding.
subtracting. Okay. I love that. I love that.
Isn't it because 0 is in the top right? So but we're subtracting because it's offset by the camera. Yeah. Yep.
So we'll do
Now, are you thinking of the camera as the point that is the center of the screen as the camera control point, or is the camera right now at position 0 essentially? Because I
that
think
is a really good position.
we have to
That
do a
is a really
different
good question.
yeah, we have to do a different offset if you choose to have the camera center be the center. Because right now you would send camera position, it'd be offset. It would be like 300, 200, and we'd offset the entire map much further than it needs to be. So
Yeah. So in either case, whatever's rendering needs to know. Well, I was going to say they need to know the size of the viewport, but that's only for doing clipping, right? So we
Right.
don't really need to know for now.
right.
Okay. So first, let me get some code in here, just so my types will start showing up.
Sounds good.
And then vec2 dot subtract. Yes, there's a sub. It's sub. And we're subtracting.
Camera pause. And we're subtracting vec2 from values xy, and then camera pause.
Okay, and then we need to actually pass in. So right now, let's just say the camera position is the upper left corner of the camera's field of view.
Okay, so 0,
That's
0
probably
is where
the
we're
easier
starting.
way. Yeah, that's probably the easier way of thinking about it. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and go to the game, I think. And we need to know where the player is, right?
Yep.
Is there a player component that we can pull off? Is the entity, do we know?
Ugh. No, there's movers. There's just a mover. Nothing is the player. Oh,
And
is there a keyboard component? No, the mover does that. Crud.
Now, technically, the game could just keep a pointer to the player for now. I don't
That's true.
love having to have a player all the time.
Mhm.
But for now, let's just do that.
Cool.
Something like that.
Mhm.
And then we'll do the make player here, and then this dot player equals entity. And then this dot playfield dot render will be this dot player dot transform dot position.
Mhm.
And then this shouldn't update anything yet. Although
It should. You didn't change
should
the render. You're still rendering XY.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, dude, it's so much easier to follow your code now. I'm thrilled.
That's good. Okay, so this is gonna be really weird. Yeah.
So why? Why grid lines? Oh gosh. I wonder if we could be buffering this fill rect somehow. I wonder
When
if
you
there's
say
a way.
buffering, what do you mean by that?
I mean, telling Canvas that we're gonna do like these, like we give it all the tile paints we're about to do, and then say render it. Because I think what's happening is you're seeing some jitter as you move, and I don't know. I assume that the canvas is like, stop sending me 300 fill rects every frame, and like kind of trying to keep up, and it almost looks like, is it like screen tearing a little bit to see the lines between the rects here?
So tearing is a good theory, except that when it's static, we still see the lines.
True.
If you shoot, do they go away? Okay. Oh, so I guess it's because they're offset on strange pixel values, maybe.
Yeah, so what if we added a stroke? Is that gonna...
I think you might still see the stroke move from straight to fuzzy.
Okay.
Can
Do
we
we need
can we
to
can we clean up the
round?
render pause? Yeah, I was gonna say round it to whole numbers only, so it'll move one pixel at a time, which is probably fine.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah. Okay. And the entities are moving along with that because they're still in camera space and not
yep,
in
game
world
space.
space. They're being rendered
Yeah,
in camera space. Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Ah, this is rad. This makes sense. Gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
So I foresee, and maybe I think you might have suggested this sort of as the first thing, but would it make sense to sort of mock up an object that's like our 2D context, but takes the offset everywhere? Um, like a fill rect that demands an offset value as well. So like defining a very similar interface, but then we're just passing, so we can use these functions without having to like do
Without
math.
having to repeat this operation with every render. Is that what you were
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, and like math.floor, it feels like there's a bunch of potential foot guns in there. And what
Yeah.
we want is this. And it's only, and right now we have like fill rect, draw path, arc, and like a couple other small things. So
Yes. Um,
is that like too much prefactoring?
I don't think so. What it really is that like um, either we can wrap fill rect in all of our like various things to
Mhm.
translate the position the right way, or we can have an object that is a position converter that does this
Mhm.
and this, and you just have to remember to call it before you call the canvas.
That sounds like a simpler start. So I like that. You drop it in
Okay.
Matthew Hills or something. Yeah.
Well, we could just call it camera, right?
Hmm.
We could have a thing like this.
True that.
Which has a position, which is a vec2.
Mhm.
And then it'll have... Do you want a setter function there? Maybe for now we'll just set the position in a brute force way.
Mhm.
But then what we want is like... we want like... to render pause. Something like that.
Yep. Yep, that makes sense.
And then this is essentially just a convert, it's just this thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Vec2.sub, this.create. This is just the world pause.
pause.
And this is this.position.
Mhm.
And then we return
Floor. Yeah. Yep.
Of 0. Okay. So now that we have a camera, what we do is instead we pass the camera in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
the game 2
We need to make a camera.
needs a camera.
every time.
What
Isn't
does it
that
mean?
terrible?
How does
I
it?
don't. I don't
What is
know.
it trying to? I don't have Docker. I don't have like. Okay.
Here's my hypothesis: is that when you started typing tilde, it's like I need to write to your home directory. Let me go find a path.
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and then what we're going to say is on the update, this dot camera dot position equals this dot player dot position,
Oh,
and
yep,
that's going to get
yep.
improved over time.
Hmm.
And then we're going to pass in this dot camera.
Hmm.
And here
then, yeah,
we do.
render pause is camera pause vec2 from values.
Is it what do we call it? Get render
to
pause.
to render pause. And
Vec2 from values x y.
Yep. And then our math.floors are gone.
And then I need to import camera here. And let's just check the console real quick. B is undefined.
Oh, we have a vec2 error. Let's go back to the camera. I wonder if we did that sort of wrong. Vec2 sub. No.
One of these is undefined, right?
Oh,
It's
this
possible
dot
that
position. I think camera should be constructed with a this dot position that is maybe vec2 dot create for super safety.
Yeah, I think it's a first frame problem, right?
Yeah, I think so. Nope.
Okay, still having issues. Maybe I need to copy the player's position. Well, we should be in the habit of doing that anyways.
Yeah.
This is the one disadvantage of using JavaScript, is that it kind of makes passing by reference a little bit of a pain. So this is vec2.copy, right?
And what is upset about this dot entities dot update right now? This is angry. Is it
playfield? Do we introduce a circular?
Possibly. Wait, yeah, it said cannot find identity, which is a little scary. Is camera's not an entity? Is it? No. No, camera's completely safe. Yeah, you can import this everywhere.
Yeah. There is no identity here. Did I accidentally get rid of it?
Oh, possibly. Or did I?
No, I mean, this thing was running before, right?
It was, yeah.
And then playfield.
Playfield, that type error, I think, is
iPlayfield needs to get updated, I think.
Yeah, but that vec2 undefined, I feel like we're kind of in the wrong. We got to import camera here, but I'm not.
Yeah, all this should just be pure TypeScript errors, right? Like the JavaScript itself should be fine.
Yeah. A is undefined. Maybe okay, so maybe let's stick some login into camera TS.
Oh, I see. Let's use it. Vec2.create.
Ah, there we go.
Well, that doesn't solve anything. This dot player dot transform. There. Okay, let me close that up.
Yeah, try again.
That is now doing what we want, which is great. Cool. Okay, so now we need to do this. Yeah.
Can you move it around again? Just move the player a little bit. So, I feel slightly crazy, but it's not following 1-to-1. Right? Like you're able to move from the left to the right of the screen and not be in the camera center. So.
Oh, the player is not.
Or the camera movement is not tracking the player 1-to-1, and I know it should be right now, right?
Well, that's assuming that the player is being drawn in the same space as the playfield, which is not,
Oh,
right?
crud. There you go. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think we need to repeat this pattern everywhere.
Everywhere.
And then, I think the way this would probably work in another game is that like instead of each object rendering itself, each object would instead give a renderer some abstract geometry
Right.
or draw commands, or so it's a box with this world position, and then the renderer would have the context in the camera, and then it would basically do the translation inside the renderer. We can kind of turn that inside out later. Let's just follow this
Yeah.
to see where it'll take us, right? Okay, playfield already works. Entity manager needs to get updated. So entity manager, its render needs to take a camera, and it'll then pass the camera down. Oh man, this automatic thing is not quite happening right now, and it's bumming me out.
I feel like you have to hit exactly the right key at exactly the right time for VS Code to do it, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, and then the interface for all of these things probably needs to get updated as well, which we might as well do right now. I'm gonna get really good at typing this.
Do you use Alfred snippets? Because that's been my lifesaver.
Uh, I do use Alfred for certain things, but not for snippets.
Do you have, so the do you have the Power Pack installed?
I might not on my home computer.
Okay.
I should buy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I think you should buy it because the Command Option C to get back into your pasteboard history is great. Because sometimes I just copy three things and then I can like have my three little chunks in the pasteboard without having to do that every time.
Yeah.
But buyer beware because I just opened it up and both of our stream keys are in my pasteboard and on my screen, but not being broadcast. So,
Okay.
whoops.
Yeah. Okay. Noted.
Yeah, I found a security bug in our process. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to clear that.
Okay. Let's keep trucking. Luckily, the autocomplete is reasonably
It's
okay.
fine.
It's not finding this that well. And then the path renderable needs to take this as well. And I think path renderable is really the only thing left for us to worry about, right? Because that's the thing that's doing all of our entities.
Right. That is both the player bullets
And then
and boxes, not the particles.
one last location. Oh yes, the particles aren't. Great call. Tilde slash camera. All right, let's do the path renderable real quick because this should do it for us. And then what we want to do is we translate.
Basically, just call camera dot to render pause. You can just call it on line 16, right? Wrap it one more time.
Yes, I think what I want to do is like translate one more time, right? By the negative of the camera position. So like, or we can. I think it rotates before it translates, right? So I think what we want to do is wrap.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, just oh.
Is there a gate? I really hope there is.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We'll see. Camera dot position. Back to.
Sorry, and can you explain to me why we're not just using the camera to render pause for that?
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Um,
Okay, great.
we need to do it at least. We need to do it once for every point though, because path two,
Oh, path two. Right. So what is path two an array of points?
it is.
Okay.
So what if I do this public
Yeah.
static
Yeah.
map path two? Uh, I guess it's a func, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is type. How do you do types? Is it just like this?
Yep. Yeah. Just argument arrow. Yeah. So
And
it
then
takes a vec2 and returns a vec2.
and then is this arrow,
Mm,
or is it just vec2?
oh,
Or
I think it
colon?
might be colon. Yeah.
Do I need parentheses around these things?
No, I think it's a fat arrow actually.
It's this.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. And then this is going to basically do map of func.
Does that work?
Well, we'll see.
I'd be wild if so.
And then what we want to do is this will be path2.map. Oh wait, path2 is an array. We should be able to map without creating another function, right?
Oh, great. Yeah, we probably didn't need that static.
Yes, I'm going to get rid of this.
Cool.
Totally worthless. It's just so funny how far into that function I got before I realized that, like, wait a minute, path2 is just an array. And then what we want here is, this is a position, and we'll do camera dot to render pos of p.
I think you can pass the unapplied camera to render pos p as well, right? That's the function.
Yeah, but it needs to be. We can do this to render pos dot bind camera, right? This, because it needs the local context. Does that make sense?
It needs the local context.
It needs, because like camera has a this, and like you need to tell it what this is.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So generally in these cases, I actually tend to prefer
Nope. I think you're right.
style, just because it's a little bit clearer what's going on. And then this is a vec2,
Oh, it's just camera that's upset.
and this is a vec2.
Yeah. I don't think you actually needed to type any of that because it should be implicit.
Yeah,
It should be implicitly correct.
like it. It had a little squiggle down here.
Because map should be chained onto the end of .translate. Like it's part of the path2 object. It's not.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's this one.
I think you. Okay.
Okay.
Well. Oh, I
Well,
see it.
because you can see it barely in the corner there. Okay, so this is a problem. This is basically where we need to know the viewport size in order for us to offset correctly.
Right, and this was already the case with the map was already offset by the incorrect size, right? Like now everything is offset incorrectly by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think that the camera, it's actually in the game. Where we set the camera position, this just
right.
needs to be subtracting half of the viewport, right?
Is that? Yeah.
So we do vec2.sub
Uh-huh.
of this, and then do we know the viewport size here?
The playfield has pixel sizes for. We use it elsewhere. Playfield has pixel height and pixel width.
It doesn't actually.
It doesn't?
The
Wait, no.
viewport.
The playfield function is down here. There's enough bandwidth for me to control your screen now. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
nice.
I'm sorry, the feature is over. We want this, right?
This is the pixel height of the entire map.
Oh, it's not the playfield. I'm sorry. Yep. Yep.
So the thing that knows the size of the viewport is actually index.html, right? Something like that, or main.ts.
Probably. I think we made it the tile size though, right? Or the tile size type. Yeah.
Canvas. Oh no, we have playfield tile width, which is fixed in constants. So this is actually not the right name.
Right, now it's camera. It's camera width and camera height.
Viewport
Mm-hmm.
tile height. What the fuck?
That is not the right refactor.
I think I just need to go to constants, right? Here.
Yeah, probably so.
That was hilarious. It was like, okay. It's like those stories about the genie who is like malicious and interprets what you ask it to do like very literally.
Yeah, that was a serious monkey paw. Okay, so can you? I don't think it updated in main. No, it did. Okay, what the hell? Can you search for others? Because I for some reason have. Oh wait. Now game.ts has some angry issues.
Okay. I just got halfway through typing something.
Oh,
right?
there we go.
We want to subtract from the player position, essentially the size of the viewport, which I actually think we should maybe make as part of the property of the camera.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So here's what I think we should call it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then is do you kind of are you picking up what I'm putting down here?
Not yet. Let's see.
And then what we do here is we say that my position, we do vec2 dot sub of world pause, and then this dot size 0 divided by 2, this dot size, oh, we gotta make this vector. Fuck.
Yeah, from values. Yeah, I know.
You know what? It's fine. It's actually fine.
I'm used to it by now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see what's going on. You know, I've been wondering, should toRenderPause return a value, or should it just modify the vec2 we pass in?
I like maybe being a little bit generic about it.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Let's definitely keep that in mind. So it'd be this camera dot center at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then camera's angry. Because we need the size. And then what we'll do is, I'm just going to add this in here.
Number, comma, number.
Okay, and then I think our interfaces need to get updated with this.
We didn't write a camera interface.
Okay.
Oh, but
great.
the game interface, yeah.
No, the game interface doesn't have the constructor.
We didn't write a constructor. Great. But the main TS needs to, yeah.
So width, I'm going to rename this to viewport width.
Yes.
Oh
I
wait, the
wonder.
canvas is the viewport. Huh. We could be using that instead, but this is actually better. I actually like this.
Oh, you mean like diving into the canvas?
Yeah, because we're passing the canvas context into every. No, we're not. We're passing the render context. Maybe it doesn't know how big it is,
Yeah, I
right?
was gonna say I'm not sure what the 2D context even gets us, so I think this is fine. Whew.
Okay, so
Cool.
that's what we
That.
wanted to have.
Oh shit, that's great. Nice, dude.
Oh, and our particle emitter
Yep.
is not offset.
Wow, dude,
I
I
was glad.
love.
I actually kind of love this. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to be able to demonstrate here. Is like we're
Wow.
progressively. Our playfield system got updated first,
Mhm.
and our entity system got updated. Our path renderables got updated, and now we updated the particle emitter. Right.
Yep. Wow, seeing that muzzle flash just walk away from the tank is really wonderful.
Oh, and emitters. That's why it's complaining, is because we didn't update the emitters yet, which is fine.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely fine.
It's it complains so correctly. So right there, uh, you might have updated the interface. We might just need to. I feel like the emitter render function was what was. Oh no.
camera, right?
Huh.
And then these positions need to be offset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then so what we want to do is we do const p render pos equals camera dot to render pos of p dot position. Then we need to put the camera.
And I wonder, performance-wise, if this should happen earlier in the particle life cycle than render, just because there's potentially a lot of math or a lot of particle math.
Oh, you're saying in the update, maybe?
Possibly, because we're already like potentially like I feel like these are the things that like are maybe thousands at a time.
Um,
Eh,
yes.
you know what? Until the game is slow, I don't care.
The thing is that this is the time to do it because the camera might get modified by other things
Yeah, yeah,
between the
you're
update
right.
and render, right? Like if we do camera shake or something like that, that's probably going to happen
Mm-hmm.
between these two, right?
Makes sense. Cool. Wow, that's rad. And you can drive off into the void now.
Yes, we can still do our tattoo art. Maybe we should make the
Yeah,
void.
only with bullets. No, you can't. It's redrawing. It's drawing everything. Ah, heartbreaking.
Oh, okay. So this is super rad, right?
Yeah,
Well, we did what we came for.
that's a
Do
game.
we want to?
So I have a thought.
Yep,
Let's not let the camera show the black.
yep.
Um,
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
yeah. So let's stick it somewhere.
So the camera needs to stay within a boundary, right? Um, so maybe what that is we pass it into the camera.
Well, the camera, right. So the camera has the viewport size. Would it help for the camera to know the playfield size so it could say like I'm too close to some edge? Let me clamp you. Let me clamp it to these minimum values or
Yeah.
maximum.
No, I think you're totally right. I would actually be willing to be super generic about it, and actually we should send in an access line bounding box. So,
I like that. Yeah.
and it's basically what is the minimum world position, what is the maximum world position. And we can do that one of two ways. One is we could pass in what the origin should be, and then give it a height and width, or we can just give it 2 points. Which do you prefer? I actually think that maybe height and width is actually a little bit more robust, because then you guarantee that the max is actually greater than the min.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that crazy?
No, I agree with that. I like origin and yeah.
And then
And is it silly to assume min world position is 0, 0, and then all we really need
Um,
are dimensions?
that was what I was saying about trying to make it a little bit generic, which is that
Mm.
like
Oh, I see. Yeah, now
it
this is
doesn't
the box.
necessarily have to be that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe though for our playfields are only ever going to extend from origin, right?
It's
Whatever. I
interesting.
think we might as well make it flexible, right?
Yeah, it turns out this is probably exactly the player collider for the edges of the map too.
Right.
While
Okay.
we're, yeah.
I've been doing dimensions not as a vector
Hmm.
for some silly reason.
It,
Although we are doing kind of vector math, right?
yeah.
Let's put a pin in that. We can refactor, I think, off stream.
Gotta love that DOM string map.
Yes. And then main.ts. Oh, it's the game, really, right? When we create the camera, the origin is going to be. I mean, this is actually what we're going to get from the playfield, right? So maybe the playfield should report this. Like interfaces for the playfield.
Oh, and give that the.
We do have it actually.
We did it,
Pixel
yeah.
height, pixel width.
By the way, I just opened up my fancy iStat menus, and OBS is at 200% of CPU, Tuple is 100%, and my Windows server is 100%. So there are all 4 of my cores.
Okay, there you go.
But I found the CPU bottleneck.
Yes. So maybe that does make sense though that we.
I was just going to validate Elgato is definitely the correct
Capture card is
solution.
the right thing to do, and then
Yeah.
we just have to figure out because we can't do as clever composition. Because I
Sorry,
imagine if you use OBS to compose, well, I don't know. You might be able to use OBS to compose what goes to your HDMI port. I don't know if OBS can do that.
Oh, me neither, but that's really clever if so.
It seems like something it should be able to do, and then if that's possible, then what your other computer is just doing is it's really just doing the Twitch stream, which might not be the expensive part, right? It might be the compositing that is actually expensive.
I assume the video composition, but anyway, I just wanted to.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, Playfield already has those values. Ah, great. Yeah. Is that just a function that returns vec2.create?
Seriously? Come on. And then where are we calling pixel height?
In game?
I really want to call that world height. Well, what does height mean? Is this tile height?
That height is number of tiles. Pixel height is, yeah, world pixel space.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
Do we need pixel height with min and max world pause now? Like, what is game using that for?
I actually think I like this. Or dimensions is even better. Because this is exactly what the camera is going to need, right? Let's do it that way.
Yep.
So
yeah, and then
where are we calling pixel height?
Just one spot. So I think.
Yeah. For the render. Oh, this is where we're clearing the canvas.
Yep.
White first of all, and then.
Why not black? Are you just tired of seeing the edge?
Oh, we can do black.
Yeah, or like make it magenta so we never see it.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yep.
Playfield dot dimensions. It's funny that we use functions sometimes and we use just direct access other times.
Yeah. JavaScript.
And like there's a bunch of libraries now that are coming out that are super magical because they use like functional getters and setters,
Hmm.
so you don't even know all the time what's happening. Then this is dimensions. We're getting there.
Yep. So close. We still haven't written the function. Yeah.
I'm surprised this is not complaining about not having annotations here.
It doesn't need them. It's a function that only returns a value that is a number somewhere else. So TypeScript is totally chill. If you
So it'll infer.
Yeah, if you hover over tile width, it should say like void arrow number without problem.
Wait, the dimension should be x and y, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Then these we don't need anymore. Okay, so we got our rendering back, but now we need to make sure that we set up the camera so that it is aware of these things, right? Camera's complaining about this. And this should really be based on the playfield. And I don't think we finished that on the playfield yet, right? The min position, max position.
No. No max position, but min position, yeah.
Min world pause. And for now, we just know that it's the origin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just vec2.create.
Then we go to the game, when we create the cam, this is purely playfield based.
Nice.
Right?
Yep, that looks like it.
Okay. So now
Cool.
with the camera as it is, it's just center at that needs to change, right? So center at needs to clamp.
Yeah, it needs to clamp between min world x and dimension x, min world y and dimension y.
Yes.
And that's probably it.
Is there a vec2 clamp?
Gosh, I feel like wasn't there a rotate that we ended up using? Yeah.
Is there a min and max at least? There is.
Sweet.
Okay. So so we want to do vec2.min of into this dot position.
Mm-hmm.
And the minimum that it should ever be is the min world pause.
But the reverse, because it should be the minimum of current position and max, because this will always return min world pause if you take the min, right?
This is the max of those two.
Yeah.
And then min of the vec2 dot add of vec2 create this dot position. Dimensions really needs to be
Shouldn't it, is it not just from values dimensions? Because the camera. Oh wait.
I mean, dimensions technically is vec2. Maybe that refactor would have been helpful.
Wait, sorry, I don't understand that half of it.
So
Let's see what it does actually. I'm curious how it's
this
running.
clamps it. This clamps the upper left corner of
Hmm.
the map.
Hmm.
This second one clamps the lower right corner.
Why did you have to do a create and a add? Why do we have to add that vector? Because isn't from
It might
values
be
the thing?
it might be a subtraction because basically the dimensions. What I'm trying to do is to make sure that the camera does not creep past
The
the
edge.
lower right corner of the entire map,
Mm-hmm.
minus the size of the camera, right?
Ah, right.
Yeah. So this is actually a
It would be nice to have the camera size there because position is an interesting.
it's this is it. Um,
Okay.
so
Well, I'm curious what that
what we were saying is
does.
what the maximum position of the upper left corner of the camera
Hmm.
should be the
The
lower left world position. Actually, needs to be more complicated. We need to know what the maximum world position is, right? So, like, just real quick, I'm just going to add this thing here,
mhm.
and it's going to be this dot min world position plus dimensions.
Sure. Yeah.
Sorry, it's got to line these up.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Right. And this would be if dimensions if the mid world position was not 0, 0. This is what's doing it.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
And then this should become this dot max. The max world position.
Uh-huh. I'm
Back to from values. This is a little bit circuitous, but bear with me here.
Mhm.
Basically, what we're doing is we're taking the lower right corner that we'd ever render.
Mhm.
We're subtracting the size of the viewport.
We're subtracting. You're subtracting the size of the playfield there, so that's always
Oh
0.
yes, we need the
Which is this dot size. We do have it,
size. Okay.
and like
Maybe
this dot size over 2 probably.
let's call this like viewport size, maybe.
Sure. Change dimensions to like playfield dimensions while we're in there too.
Yeah, world dimensions or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to name our spaces, right?
It's I think it's a great rule that when you write a variable and you're like, or when you write a function, you're like, I used the wrong variable to just rename stuff until it's less confusing.
Okay, so line 34 is clear, right? That much at least we understand, right?
Yeah, though I think it actually needs to be this dot. I think it needs to be minworld pos plus. Oh no, our camera is 0 aligned. Of course, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
talking
yes.
about the upper left corner. No,
Right.
you're right. You're right. You're actually right. You're absolutely right.
Okay. Right, because we just centered it the line above that.
Because the camera's position is this. No, the camera's position is the upper left corner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
Wait,
we should-
let's find out. Just see if we can drive out the top left. We'll find out really fast if our math is right. It looks good because actually the. Oh well.
Oh, yeah, it's not following anymore.
Can you take off the so the second one is actually what's clamping it to 0, 0 because the values are wrong.
Commented out.
Yeah, let's just see if the top left corner is doing the right thing. Okay. Yeah. That's what I expect. So that's great. So we've got 2 boundaries of clamping.
Okay. Now our map is massive, so we're never going to get there. We need to maybe tone this down a little bit.
Or turn up the
Perhaps.
speed. Let's tone down the map. Let's make it like 11 lines tall. The bottom won't be bounded right now. Is maybe what's nice.
Can I not do a vertical select in? Here we go. Yes.
Whoa, dude! How did you do that?
Just hold Alt.
What? Okay, great.
I should turn the speed up too. Is
Yeah,
it player
nice.
member?
Yeah.
Player.
Zoom, zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, so correct. That does nothing.
Okay. Right. So let's go back to the camera.
Uh-huh. So I think you're correct. So it's this dot viewport size for line 42.
When viewport size is, yeah, those should be vectors. I was like, let's not factor it on stream, and it just keeps biting me, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, now I have a question. I don't think that's the bottom. Because the bottom of our map does not have half a river. Well, I don't know if it has half a river on it anymore. What's our last line?
Check it out. It is half a river.
It's half a river. Okay, great.
All right.
Why is it not over 2? Oh, because we centered it and zeroed it out correctly. So
is it confusing to have the center of the camera be the camera's position be the upper left corner? Should we make it the center of the viewport?
I don't think it is. I'm fine with it now that I remembered that we did not put it at the center point and we are using 0, 0. It makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
So if you go back to the top left, our wall is in the correct position. Everything looks great. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe we want to make sure that the player doesn't roll out the side. I know we've now made it impossible for the player to make art outside of the playfield.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and you were saying you actually had a really good idea, which is when we render the game, we draw, or is it main?
It's probably whatever is building our entities. Oh yeah, please make that magenta. Yeah. Just put the word magenta.
Okay,
if black worked, magenta's got to work.
Right, and so basically, if we if we get rid of our clamping. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
No, that's great. This is great too. It's such a clever and simple clamp because it lets the player get close to the edge, but also tracks really well as a centered camera. That feels right to me. It looks right.
Okay. So, how do we make sure that entities don't go outside the playfield?
Well, you could take this exact function and apply it to player position. Lines 34 to 44 should
it be all entities?
Should be all entities.
Yeah.
Bullets, no. Particles, no. Because having those pop off the edge of the camera doesn't feel terrible.
Oh, right. Yes. Right, because we don't want the bullets to explode on the walls, right?
Yeah, we don't want them to hit there, or worse would be for them to like sort of get stuck as they go up when they hit their max pause.
Yeah.
But I think maybe
really
turning the yeah, and like if we ever have like a AI entity, so some sort of like playfield clamp is what this is. Yeah.
Clamper. Is it a generic component?
Yeah, it's just update.
Nobody else needs to interact with this thing, right?
Nah.
And then I think we take the entity, and we take the game.
Huh?
We do nothing. And then what we do is we need to get the playfield out of the game, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you want? Is it?
That's not incorrect, but that's better.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe that would have been a TypeScript error at some level.
Okay, so we say that entity. entity dot transform dot position. So here's the thing. I think our clamping right now should just be on the control point, but it's going to allow pieces of the entity to leak outside.
Right.
What we don't have right now is a notion of an entity's collision box. We kind of have it half implemented for the wall collider.
Right.
Assumed everything was like a tile, right?
Would it make it, well, if we implemented this as a rect collider? Oh, you're inside the rectangle though. Right.
Let's just do this for now,
Okay.
and then
I'm okay if it leaks out the edge to start, because that does feel.
yeah,
At least we know why.
okay. It just won't feel awesome, and we can improve it from there, right?
Yeah.
So we do vec2.min of, or rather the maximum of this endgame.playfield min world pause. And let's do max world pauses then. It's useful to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then vec2.min of entity, same thing, right?
Same thing, but yeah. Now, are you saying that max world pause is dimensions minus camera width, essentially? Like it is the maximum. Oh no, this is actually.
It's a playfield, so the camera is not involved in here. This is like,
Yep.
this is purely in world space.
Yep, that makes sense.
So when we create the player, first of all, entity needs to have like a playfield clamper.
Yeah. Is this the player's script for now? That's annoying. I hate tossing too much into there.
Let's see how this, because we know we're gonna need this for other things, right?
That's true. There's a lot of things that could playfield clamp. At least, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
here, okay. Then what is it complaining about here?
Oh, the Maxwell pause. We didn't write it. It's just dimensions with vec2. Return vec2 from values dimensions 0, dimensions 1.
We actually added to the min world pause, which actually I think we did.
Oh, yeah, of course. I keep forgetting that is a thing.
Let's see vec2 dot add. Boy, I'm paying a heinous price for not making the dimensions.
Vec2. Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel ya.
All right. Okay. We will now speed along. And
Woo! Yeah.
hit the top.
Hey, that's great.
And the important thing to note here is, and we kind of glossed over this because I was going too fast, is that this happens last. This is like, I don't care what the hell you did before this. This is the final rule. Right?
Yep.
Like, cannot go outside. So I don't care if you got pushed by an explosion. I don't care if you got moved by controls. Yes.
Well, should it go after pre-render then?
That's a good question. I think pre-render maybe should not be allowed to, like, if you do something funky with that, like, originally we actually had pre-render down here in the render.
True. Yeah.
Pre-render needed some stuff. What is our pre-render? I think it's just the wall, right? And
oh, right, because it's doing the recoloring.
Yeah, and then
I
it
guess
didn't
I
actually.
yeah, I
Oh,
guess
go
I
ahead.
just since you said it's the exact absolute last thing that could happen, I'm just like,
I
it
think what
sucks that someone could bust it up in pre-render if they wanted, but it's just
I
us.
I agree. Well, let's talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
The pre-render the pre-render needs the entity.
Hmm.
Well, the render doesn't have the entity. Should the render have the entity?
It's nice that it doesn't. It keeps it clean.
Oh wait, we can pass in the entity. We totally
It,
can because it's this the entity class.
it's this.
Fuck. All right.
But is
So
I guess the question of is that necessary is it needs the game now. Maybe it doesn't need the
well,
game.
that's just because the interface is defined that way,
Mm.
which is not at all what we have to. Where did we?
Well,
Oh, because we
it's
called
a
it a generic component. So let's just call it pre-render. Let's just make it. Uh,
okay. Is there is there any possibility that we would ever need to access? Does the current wall damager go into the game though? Are we dependent
okay,
on that?
here is the problem.
Yeah.
If you can access the entity, you can update the entity no matter what, right? So this really it
Right.
doesn't help to move the update anywhere, right?
Right. Well, that's what I was thinking. Like if we're saying that this is the finality of the update, like we always clamp, like let's stick it after pre-render. I like that there's a section of like final things to be
Okay,
done.
that is totally fine.
Yeah.
Uh, what did I just? What damage did I just do? I did this.
Just Control Z.
Yeah, I just needed to know what the file is. That's
Oh
all.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I like it because essentially the first chunk could probably happen in any order.
I don't like the idea of calling this pre-render then.
Okay.
It's troubling
Hmm.
me because the pre-render should be the thing that happens before render.
Yep.
It could just be something that we do and the pre-render should know the position of the player as well. Like the pre-render should know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then maybe it's just pre-render should not. Pre-render should just know not to fuck it up.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
mess
fair
with it in
enough.
pre-render. Okay. I like the
Or
comment
it
that
could
was there
fuck it
before
up.
then.
It could very well fuck it up because like maybe pre-render renders shadows or something funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or generates other things.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, really zooming around this sucker.
I mean, the only other thing that we could do is that the pre-render component could maybe doesn't receive the entity in its update, and what it receives instead is some subset of entity components that we know can't. Well,
Oh yeah,
you're gonna need the transform, right? You're gonna need that, and if you get the
yeah.
transform
You
modified
can
as
do
well,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, and I like that it gets full entity because like for the wall we have to do the coloration based on like based on like the damage component. So like whatever. Hmm?
Is there any kind of const? Like, can you do like
You want an immutable or something?
I want to like say like I'm gonna pass it in here and I'm gonna guarantee that I'm not gonna change it. You know, I don't think we can do that. It's a step too far from what JavaScript can give us. I think.
Well, we should add immutable JS.
No, but the thing is, we only want it immutable in certain situations,
Right.
which means we would need to deep copy components that we pass in and then make those immutable or something like that, right? Ugh.
Yeah,
Gross.
this is fine. Cool. Do you want to put your pre-render comment back in because it will probably keep us from having this discussion again.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool. Yep, I agree with both of those.
Okay. All right. Did we damage anything in that hole?
Only some walls.
Only some walls and my heart. um, this
Slick.
is awesome.
Uh-huh.
Got a camera.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is wild, man.
really cool. Do we want to do?
Let's see. We talked about procedural terrain.
Talked about camera shakes as well.
Camera shake. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I could do either one of those things.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna take this for a drive.
It's now taking over my keyboard. Thank you, Tuple, for. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, I was like, we're way faster than the bullets now. Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
This is awesome. I did not know how bad my internet was. Now I got
Oh,
the
so-
fat
so-
pipes.
Yeah, now you can have like fully interactive gameplay with this.
No, exactly. Like I could barely see you typing before. This is freaking great. Yeah, the frame rate is like slightly choppy, and it's a little worse on the stream, but like whatever.
Yeah, we're working on it.
It's too bad the stream can't see this beautiful, beautiful experience. I need 2 more
Yeah.
CPUs.
Yeah. I was thinking about some cool off-stream projects that we could do.
Yeah.
One is a map editor.
That'd be really cool.
That uses the same code, right?
Oh, so basically like a way to like click and be like to toggle tiles and get our like map
Yeah.
file out the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is to basically generate one of these things.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh, can
the
we
other
can
cool-
we can we stick that in a text file finally?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
It's bonkers in main though.
Okay.
What were you saying? Sorry, you were saying about map editors? Yeah.
With map editors, well, anyways, we could do a map editor. We need to figure out how to like actually save stuff.
Hmm.
I don't want to do a server yet, so maybe we could have like copy to clipboard or something like that.
Yeah.
You know. And then also another tool that would be fun to do, which could be part of the same thing, is a particle emitter editor. You have a bunch of sliders and stuff, and you would just have the particle emitter just kind of like playing on loop in the middle of the
That'd be very rad. Oh shit.
because we had so much fun tuning the particle emitter last time.
I had a lot of fun with that. And it'd be really neat. I guess like you're saying build it actually into this, like add particles.html and editor.html.
Yeah, I was thinking like some React tools. With the
Okay.
canvas in the middle, right?
Yep, hell yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sold. That'd be
Okay.
really fun.
Cool. Okay, so with all that said, we've still not decided what we're going to do next for today. Because I don't want to do the tool on... Oh, we could do the tool on stream, but it's a lot of going to be like us fussing with React and like...
Yeah, I think let's do that over GitHub. But what can we do with this?
Do you want to do a
now?
camera shake?
Let's do camera. I'm curious how that'll work. Yeah, because I guess it's maybe sort of like particles where a timer starts and stops, and it's doing random. Maybe not even random. It's probably just applying like some lerpy function.
Yeah. So maybe for now, we'll just do shake stuff here.
Hmm.
And then maybe we'll have... Like, a shake has a time, right?
Hmm.
And then maybe for now that's it,
Okay.
right?
Now is
and
that
then-
is the shake? That's how long the shake is. That's the duration.
yeah.
Okay.
And then so what the shake, like the crudest shake that we could do
Hmm.
is we'd move the camera up by a certain amount, 1 frame. We'd move it down a certain amount, 1 frame. We move it left a certain amount, 1 frame, and we move it right a certain amount, 1 frame, and that would just happen kind of repeatedly until the timer goes to 0.
Okay,
Right?
let's do that.
Now you can imagine that the camera shake, like particle effects, is something that you could tune to an incredible. And there's all different kinds of things you could do. You can make the motion kind of like harmonically slow down, like it's on a spring. You could make the motion randomize in each direction. You could actually randomly pick a direction that you want to move it. There's all kinds of things that we could do. Maybe
I feel like I'm gonna pull up a video. I need to like look to see what a camera shake is because I can't even imagine what this looks like now. Yeah, here we go. 15 free After Effects camera presets. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, some of these are a little just like camcorder left and right. Some of them are kind of like doing a little circle oscillation. Okay.
Okay, so what we'll do is, first of all, maybe I will make it just like a shake function.
Yep.
Which what this will do is it'll do like this dot shake timer equals, let's shake it for 3 seconds, let's say. In fact, that's all I want to, that's the only stuff that I want for now. And then what we're going to do is, I guess we need an update for the camera now. We need some kind of stateful update.
Fuck, yeah.
One of the things that we should eventually do is do...
is the camera an entity?
What's that?
Is the camera an entity eventually?
It's
getting close.
We definitely could implement it that way. The thing about the camera is that I guess it does kind of occupy world space, right? It is kind of like an entity of its own kind, a little bit. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So I think you need shake duration and shake start time so that you can be subtracting based on the current time and knowing when to stop.
Yes.
Same as the particles, basically.
Start. Do I need the duration?
It could be a
for now, we just left it like hard coded.
It could be a constant and update, yeah.
Date.now, is that what it is? If this dot shake start time is 0, let's just say we're not doing any shakes. If this dot shake start time is less than date.now minus the duration, which let's just say arbitrarily is 3 seconds. This dot shake start time.
I think it needs to be 3,000, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
And now we're shaking.
Yeah. And then now we are shaking. So what is the frequency of which we are going to shake? Let's just say that the frequency is 1 out of 15 times a second.
Okay.
Frequency should be, yes, 1/15 of a second. Is this the period or is it the frequency? This is the frequency, right?
Frequency.
Oh, wait. So how are you going to know when we need to do another shake?
You could...
Do we need to store the last time we shook?
Yeah, probably so. Right, and it's the exact same check.
Shake last move.
Last move.
Okay, and then if this dot shake last move time less than date dot now
Mm-hmm.
minus whatever the frequency we decided it was going to be, 1 out of 15.
Yep.
This is the shake right here.
Mm-hmm. And 1,000 over 15 probably. Yep.
Yes, thank you.
I love languages that pick strange numbers for seconds. Mm.
Is there a vec 2.0? I bet there is.
Is it not just vec2.create for the identity?
It might be that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it starts at 0. I don't love the non-explicitness of that, but it might just be. Okay, there's a function that zeroes it out. I think vec2.create is probably acceptable.
But see, as long as create says returns the identity, I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
It's not the identity; it's the 0 position. Or identity
yeah.
is
1
well,
1.
There's no identity for vectors.
Oh yeah.
There's identity for matrices. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think I need to set all these, or else they're going to be null, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll definitely refactor a lot of this stuff. And then let's shake offset equals. Okay, so now what we can do is we're going to do like is it lodash.sample?
Mm-hmm.
Numeric dictionary. What the hell type is that? Of is 1 pixel enough? Let's do 5 pixels. This is north.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be like a random shake. We're going to pick the next direction kind of arbitrarily.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not happening in a predictable sequence.
I like that.
It feels a certain way. Whether it's the right way or not, this dot camera shake offset.
Mm-hmm. Oh, instead of sample, you can just import sample from Lodash as a named import. It's really nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about doing that sort of thing.
Okay.
But that's a total bike shed thing.
Well, thanks for indulging me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not gonna. There's no like tweening of the motion here. The camera really just jumps, which is fine.
Yes. And then the render position is basically going to add the shake offset.
Ah, it's so clever. Okay.
And vec2 dot add of this whole thing. Well, it should be vec2 dot create.
That and then. Yep. And do we zero shake offset when we hit the end of our timer on 40? I was gonna say
it's actually
42.
Right.
Yeah. And you could do, wait, here you go, vec2.0 shake offset. It's the one time we wanted it. And then no assignment. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We did it.
Yes.
Cool.
And we can do it here too. I mean, technically this one's not necessary, but I don't know. We should not do it actually, because you might shake consecutive times, right? You might shake and then shake in the middle of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it every time we shoot. We create the bullet here. Is that
Hmm.
make bullet?
Yep. Yep. That's make bullet.
We do the muzzle flash here.
Hmm.
And then let's do game.camera. Oh, it's not part of the interface. Are we
Ah.
gonna have to do interface camera? We might.
Let's see if we can avoid it.
Yes, I agree. Camera.
Hmm.
Okay, not the pyrotechnics we were expecting.
No, it could have been shakier.
Yes. So maybe we want to console.log.
So
Each
see,
time it changes, right?
wait, real quick. This dot shake start time is less than date dot now minus 3,000. No, that's right. It should be fine.
And then this
Oh.
dot shake last move time equals date.now, right?
I think that's probably it. Yeah.
So
Also,
maybe we need to now.
yeah. I think also shake. Oh, shake last move time starts at 0. That should be fine. Yeah. Huh.
We're not seeing this happening.
No logs. Yeah.
I doubt this matters. Oh, it gets prettier out anyways. Thanks, prettier.
Let's look at, so at shake we set the start time to date dot now and the move time. So it's definitely not that. Are we immediately hitting this clause for 42? Yeah. Why would it do that?
3,000.
We could log out now and shake start time here if we wanted to see what's up.
Like right here.
Yeah, sure. Ha. We never called camera update.
Oh, yes. Amazing.
We forgot. So before center add, because center add actually is what applies the shake,
Center at.
doesn't it?
I think the ordering maybe doesn't matter.
Okay. Oh, that's true because
Center
we
at
render. Yeah.
sets the official world position, and then shake sets the offset, and the offset and render are.
Oh, it's
are applied
to render pause. Great.
Whoa.
Whoa. Earthquake.
That was really long.
3 seconds is a lot.
But that was actually cool, right?
Yeah. I like it.
So let's start to tune this a little bit. This needs to be much faster.
Yep.
Twice as fast, half as long.
Sounds good.
Maybe 1/3 as long, right?
Yeah, it's still very long. How'd you feel about faster and smaller still?
Yeah. It's 1 frame a second.
Oh, I was thinking smaller jitter, like 3 or 4 instead of 5.
How does that look to you?
It looks great. I noticed that we can end up stuck in magenta, so we're not clearing our offset correctly.
Well, it depends on what you want to have happen
Hmm.
in the corners, right? Do you want the camera shakes to be less dramatic in the corners, or do you maybe want to just draw a default color that's outside?
Well, I noticed you could shoot, and when the shake ended, you still had magenta on the screen.
Oh, I see. Yes, so we're
Yeah.
not clearing the offset correctly, right?
Uh-huh.
It needs to be cleared here, maybe.
Uh,
Well,
hmm. Does zero not do what we think it does?
no, it should be zeroing it. Um,
Huh. And I assume if you try to move left now, you're stuck, right? You can't actually go more. Yeah. But then you should be able to go right and go back left and have it be correct.
well, no, the shake offset is basically
Oh, the entire camera is slightly busted. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
we're in a weird
Interesting.
state.
Huh?
Well, the confusing thing is that, like, first of all, this is terrible. Like, this should be a variable, right?
Is
Shouldn't
shaking.
be, yeah, it shouldn't be like zero. It should be a variable, like a boolean. I mean,
Hmm.
that's it should be shake or not.
Now, does it only happen if you have two shakes going on at the same time? Is one of them like canceling the other one in a funny way? I it,
That is
line
very
40
possible.
line 44 should still be doing the right thing though.
I agree.
But you can shoot faster than a shake takes to end, theoretically.
Oh yeah, and you want that actually, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, like if you had a shake that like had a very strong initial value, and you could imagine these tapering off towards the end, if you
Hmm.
wanted to do it that way, like if you did something to induce a shake one more time.
Right, you would want to do it the strongest, but it would be cool if it's sort of like degraded. Okay. That printed a lot. Oh, because we have those other logs.
It is ending in zero, right?
Uh-huh. It is undoing in zero. What
Oh, let's get rid of these prints.
yeah. Ah, wait. Return on line 46. Because we do it and then we shake once more.
Nice. Okay, that is the solution to our mystery.
Yeah, that's great.
So does that mean we want black on the edges? Magenta is useful, and yet
Yeah, can you go up into the corner a little more? Let's see what happens.
you know what you actually want
While
is
it's shaking to draw black.
no, what you actually want is extra playfield.
Mm-hmm.
You want a visible buffer on the outside of the playfield that is not the same thing as the
Right.
movable buffer, like the movable space. That is
Mm-hmm.
that is the right solution. So
Mm-hmm.
playfield needs to be a little bit more complicated, right? It needs to have some sense of like where the player can move as opposed to yeah.
Oh.
And it's funny that the way that those get implemented sometimes is that the notion of where the camera can move is actually like it's just a generic rectangle that you define in the map data, right? You just say like, okay, the map data looks like this, the tiles are this, but then I'm going to
Mm.
draw a rectangle on top of that, and that's where my
Perhaps
yeah, that's
this is map editor stuff too, because I was thinking you could paint like a grass circle, but it'd be really cool if you shook and a river continued at the edge of the map as expected. So
yes,
I think
exactly.
we should be painting the edge terrain and then yeah, having a camera movable. So I wouldn't change this. That looks
Yeah,
great. Just like drive a little bit down and it looks perfect.
yeah. Okay, so one thing we could do now, I think that the now that we do this, the the bullets hitting the walls feels anemic right now, right? It kind of feels a little disappointing.
It's true. It's true.
So I think we should have two different shakes.
Okay.
So maybe we should complicate this a little bit. How do you feel
Is
about that?
yeah, I was gonna say are shakers just like particle emitters at this point?
There are different components. Yes, you're right. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah,
Where
like
basically, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say things should just be adding shakers to the camera, and the camera sort of resolves it however it sees fit.
Yes. Um, so
Hopefully not like exponentially where like if you add 10 shakers, it's like, well, I'm gonna shake it further than you asked for. So some sort of clamping on like what the offsets it allows are.
this is kind of where the camera becomes an entity, right? Because it would be nice if we just like instantiated the shake component and let it just get updated.
Hmm.
But the only thing is that, like, well, would we all? I mean, we could add a shake component to other objects, right? We could make objects shake, and we could add, like we could make. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
was that too generic right now? We can
You're
make
thinking
entities
like,
shake.
yeah, if like something gets hit, does it vibrate essentially? I mean, walls probably won't. Walls don't won't like react like that. That would look strange. Player maybe, but I would think that's like a player hit animation of some sort that like we probably code up in like a little state machine instead.
Okay, so we can make shaker generic, but maybe it's not quite a component yet. Maybe what
Yeah.
shaker does is just stores an offset, and then whatever you do with that offset, it's up to you.
No, it has the offset frequency and duration,
Yeah.
and we let any entity toss those on the camera. Yeah.
I'm going to start that at the top level. This is like way too specific to that
Hmm.
be at the top level. For now, let's just do it.
Yeah, it feels like it belongs in particles to me. Like it feels like an emitter.
Uh,
Uh,
I know
it,
what you
not
mean.
not that they actually has anything to do with particles, but it's this sort of like it's an object that like you know you're just asking to return a set of values for you every frame or something.
It is. There's a whole category of these types of things. I think splines are similar to this, where you like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna want to spline a bunch of different things. I think springs are the same way. Like they're basically
Yeah.
kind of stateful like mathematical functions. There's like it's basically variables with an update function.
Right. Exactly. Is there a better word for that?
Effects.
You want to
Math.
change particles to effects? I like effects.
Yeah, well, I think the particle emitter is a little bit more sophisticated than what we're talking about because it has a
Okay.
render and it has like a much more complicated interface. But I do agree with you that
Okay.
like there's something to like, oops, um,
I just opened up the Wikipedia page and I forgot this fact what I actually knew, which is that Wrath of Khan had the first particle emitter ever.
what?
It was invented for Star Trek 2.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think they also like they didn't invent Perlin noise, but it was like the first time someone used it in real life.
oh yeah, Perla noise would be really fun to do because actually Perla
I was thinking that for the
noise.
terrain. Yeah,
Oh yes, oh we should do Perla noise for the terrain generation.
yeah. Maybe the terrain is Perlin noise based. Oh, you know what? Our map editor could have a noise button, so you just press it and it gives you a new map of Perlin noise, and then we can
Yeah.
choose to save it.
Oh man, I have a Twitter account that you should follow.
Is it
Uh, I
gimme?
think it's RXI. Let's
I'm looking.
uh or X underscore RXI. Is that yeah? It's X underscore RXI. The dude has or they have this really awesome tile editor
Whoa.
where oh this one doesn't have water. Let's find one that has water. Um,
Oh, where does it like make a bucket? It's like a 2D thing. What? What?
yeah, you basically just like say
Ah,
it's like holding down a water button, right? And it becomes a water rect, and then it just like it's like gravity aware, so it'll just like make the water flow, and it's like procedurally just generating levels right here.
instant follow.
Yeah,
This is sick. Who is this person? Their Twitter account is so nondescript.
yeah. They wrote like a text editor in Lua. They're just like one of those like
Oh, I love
those
it.
programmers. Like there's just like
I do know those programs.
programmers that are just like our industry has problems with multipliers, but like really talented programmers, much more talented than me at least. Um, that probably don't make any money at all, and they're just like building this stuff because they like it. You know what I mean? And it's just
Some
like,
people can just do this. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Wow.
They have this immediate mode graphics library, which is really great. Um, Gosh, it's very cool, right?
This is so neat.
Inspiring, right?
It is. I'm blown away, and I see this as not very far away from like where we are. I mean, like very far away, but also like we're just in the same conceptual ballpark.
I think if we had an ability to sort of procedurally generate stuff, that'd be really great. For those of people on the stream that don't know about Perlin noise, it's sort of like smooth randomness. That's the way that I would describe Perlin noise, right? It's like something that's like if you just did our map and you just made it completely random, it would look like garbage, right? It would look like a quilt. And even if you had a probability distribution function of different tiles, so it's mostly green and not very blue, that would still look like garbage. What you want is like a smooth transition from your blues to greens. And so if you have a notion of a continuum, and a lot of Perlin noise is in 2 dimensions, so you have a continuum sort of like in the x-axis and a continuum on the y-axis as well. If you have a notion of a continuum, and then you sort of like vary the randomness based on its proximity to other random points. It's a way to make clouds. It's a way to make fire. It's a way to make Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting too. I see it you like it got to the point where I can kind of see when someone used it. It's a very recognizable kind of randomness, which is weird.
This is the sort of like if this is the sort of like raw data of a Perlin noise point cloud. Right?
Yeah.
Like if it's just a tile map, it looks like this.
But if you go to I feel like this is sort of a thing that looks really familiar for like I saw someone make a low budget CG movie and the mountains look like this. And it's like this really recognizable texture that like is just a little over applied, but is, still very useful.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel the same way about the way that we have implemented our like our particle generator here. Like those circles, the way that looks is very much like, okay, you just did a rudimentary particle emitter, right? Like It looks very much like that. Where there isn't quite the polish on them, like the explosions don't fade away, they disappear completely. Like there's all kinds of things that like aren't super smooth about them. Perlin noise, when deployed very literally, has that sense too. And I think probably since the early 80s, we've evolved a bunch of different noise functions that are like way more sophisticated. We can get whatever the hell this dude is doing or this person is doing.
It's so good. Oh my god, this is their quarantine project. I love it.
Yes. So the other shout out I will make, the other kind of like plug I will make besides this Twitter feed, and it would be actually fun to do like maybe a stream or just like a conversation later on off stream about like which like indie game dev people we follow on Twitter, because there's like lots of cool stuff out there.
Oh yeah, I could use some more.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
Please.
But the other thing I would plug is to read Derek Yu's Spelunky book. Like he's the kind of like the sole creator of Spelunky. No, he had a programmer with him for the remake of Spelunky. And obviously there's musicians stuff that played on, but Derek is really talented.
That's so funny. One of my quarantine buddies is writing a boss fight book about a different game.
Oh yeah. Well, the Boss Fight is a series of books about games. The Spelunky one's really good. Sorry, we're not going to get to camera shakes in the time remaining, but this is important. But there's 2 really awesome things at least in the Spelunky book. One is that he talks about how he did the random level generation.
Oh, I'm very curious.
Yeah, and it's actually a lot more. Like you would think it would take a ton of math and like strengths. Like if you have like a wall that's this high, you can't have another wall next to it, that's like 2 blocks away because it's just unplayable that way. Or I think instead he had a bunch of components that were larger than a single tile, like a quarter of the screen or something like that. And what you could randomize is maybe the tile set that's being used and maybe 1 or 2 facets of it, like the presence of a platform or not.
Yep.
and then you just combine those together. And so if you just sort of zoom out, actually, if it's not like a 100% granular randomization, you just step back for a second. And I'm pretty sure that's what's happening in this animated GIF that we're watching right now, is that there's probably maybe a certain number of possibilities coarse grained across several tiles to make that a lot more digestible. Although this actually seems pretty random to me. I don't know. It also follows the little tile cursor that's being dragged around as well. But if you're doing like procedurally generated levels, oftentimes it's more just like you have several possible shapes of rooms. Like he talks about how like you can have a room that has a door on the left and the right, or you can have a room that's like T-shaped where there's a door on the left and right and a pit on the bottom, or you can have a door on the right, and those are the only possible options, right? Like,
Well,
that's
and
the way
then right, then the only thing you have to connect is like the pit needs to go to like a room below it, and you just have to make sure that you like can track the connection points instead of every tile, which makes sounds a lot easier.
Yeah. So
I
that
think
was the
of
first thing that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think of Diablo a lot like that too. If I don't know if you've played through that, but Diablo
Yes.
2 and Diablo 1 especially felt like it was like they did a good randomization, but there was definitely you could sort of see the chunks that were chunked together into it.
I feel like Diablo. I never played Rogue, so this might be heretical to say, but Diablo for me was like my first experience with procedural generated levels. Right?
I same, yeah.
And with Diablo, yeah, I'm sure they're doing something similar where you think that they're doing some incredible galaxy braid mathematical thing with all these constraints, but really it's probably just like, actually, no, you can only have these number of elements. Set of elements is actually pretty limited, and they connect with very simple rules. Something
Exactly.
Like that.
Yep.
So that was the cool thing, number one, about that book. It's not just number one. Like, there's like a million cool things about that book. But the second thing that really stuck out to me is he has a whole like half chapter on the sort of meta skill of finishing things. He says that like programming is a skill, making music is a skill, making art is a skill, but like it's its own separate skill to actually like follow through and finish something. Which for me was quite a poignant thing to read, because God knows I have so many like half-started projects, like this graveyard of half-started projects in my GitHub.
It's hard to finish things, yeah.
Right. So, God willing, we're gonna finish YOLO RTS into something, right?
I think I'm fairly confident we are because it's already something.
Yeah, there's some momentum here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know where it's gonna go? Gosh,
So
nice,
shaky.
right?
Okay, so wait, so
like that's what's gonna end up.
oh,
happening.
sound will be fun. So wait, since we're running out of time, we're not going to our shake component. Can we make the explosion also add a shake, so it at least feels like a thing?
Yes, we can. Why don't I go ahead and just like not do this? Let me get rid
Yeah,
of shake.
let's not put a half component in there.
I don't like it. And then what we do is, where are we also emitting? I mean, the reason why you associate the shake with particle emitter is that we're also instantiating them exactly at the same time, right? Like,
Great point.
is it in the wall collider?
I think it's in the wall
It's
collider. Or bullet? Explosion. There you go, yeah. Well, that's easy. Ha! That's sick.
I think we need a little bit of. Let's extend the range of the bullet. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it. The bullets got pretty.
2 seconds.
It's a much bigger map now.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You feel the difference, right?
Hmm.
Nice.
That looks like stuff is happening. I love it.
Oh, that's really nice. Very cool.
That's sick. Ship it.
Yeah.
Nice work today. This is so awesome.
Yeah. To close the loop on the finishing stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this could. I think we're gonna have to make like a strategic decision at what point we're gonna like choose to either make the graphics cool or to make the gameplay interesting, right? Because if we're to follow the kind of like prototype mentality that the the Breath of the Wild kind of video where they showed all the prototype stuff
Hmm.
with the original Zelda assets. Like, we may even want to go as far as like implementing net play with that aesthetic.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, I guess the thing is like if we don't do net play, then we have to come up with some other gameplay mechanic, which is tricky, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly curious about like building a simple AI opponent too. Um,
Yeah, enemies, and we're getting close to that, right? Like if we
yeah.
don't do vendors or whatever. Like we've been very focused on like we had actually last stream and this stream were similar because we added like one gameplay component. Last time we
Hmm.
added destroyable walls, and this time we added like a map and a camera. We also worked on one special effects thing, either particle emitters or camera shakes.
Yeah.
Right now, at a certain point, we're gonna have to stop working on the sizzle, and we're gonna have to add some kind of gameplay, right?
Hmm.
Which is
Hmm.
I think naturally a little bit more tedious to work on. And whether it's AI, so that you have like enemies, or it's net play, or it's all the horrible interstitial stuff of like loading levels and like pause screens and all those
Yep.
things. Um, like there's gonna be some things that are gonna like become quite difficult. Although like all the kind of like cool sizzle stuff or graphical stuff or effects could go as far as us getting into using tiles here
Hmm.
or moving into the third dimension, right? Because I think we do have some ambition to like make these like battle zone vector tanks, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting if this turned into an isometric game too. If we, I
I
feel like
would love to go.
it's got a lot of potential to just like turn the playfield 45 degrees from where we are now.
So sweet to have
Yeah,
isometric below. Yeah,
I think
we
it's
should
a
definitely do.
very reasonable goal. Yeah.
All these things. We should do net play. We should do all these things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. And yeah, it's net play sounds like a lot to bite off. I'm intimidated by that, but I do feel like we haven't found like a game loop yet. Uh,
Yeah. I'm
so
intimidated by net play as well.
yeah.
Everything I've read about it, like to me, like seems like drastically oversimplifies the problem. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if our net play solution is we just need my computer to talk to your computer, though, like maybe we can do the drastic oversimplification since we both have a fiber pipe in Berkeley.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it could just be that like I press the space bar, nothing happens on my computer until it makes a full round trip to your computer and back to mine.
I'm okay
Right.
with that. Yeah.
Uh,
I think my ping is 3.
we are on the same network technically, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We're on a big old LAN.
yeah, exactly. We might be the equivalent of like a 1989 LAN connection, right?
So I mean, let's take advantage of that, and I think just like we didn't implement the 3D graphics to start, like let's do dumb net plays so we can play.
Yeah, although the thing about netplay is it's like one of those things that, like strict typing or something like that, like if you didn't start with it,
Mm.
putting it onto your engine at the end is, a trail of tears.
Oh no, that's what I
Um,
mean. Like we should drop a very bad version in now so we can do it, but like make sure that our entire model is built around like sending events to the server and like distributing them to players.
yeah. So the punchline of netplay is that the way that everybody does it is that they'll say, um, "I'm going to allow like the problem with the system that I just described is that like if I just like send my input to the server and not update the game at all until the server tells me how things get updated, that's going to feel super laggy
Mm.
generally. So what people do is they say, well, I'm going to actually continue to draw stuff and even simulate some stuff
Hmm.
so that like it feels like your input is conclusive, but all the important stuff, quote unquote, is going to be simulated on the server, and then I'm going to send all the important updates out to
Right.
the clients. But the question is, how do you draw the line between what's important and what's not important? That to me seems like a really, really difficult question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I'm going to destroy these walls with my rad. Um,
Shaky explosion thing.
oh my! I can't really turn very granularly, but my collision detection is really, really generous here. So, okay, we have shakes. I've been waiting to do shake since day one.
I know
It's my
you've mentioned it a
favorite.
couple times. I'm really glad it showed up. I was worried it'd be harder.
It's my cool. Well, I
Okay,
guess that's it.
sweet. I'll see you on Wednesday.
Everybody Wednesday.
All right. Goodbye, Twitch.